North Carolina is a land of dramatic geography, stretching from towering mountain peaks down to a vast, fragile coastal plain. But beneath the scenic beauty of the Tar Heel State lies a battle for ecological and agricultural survival. Two icons of eastern North Carolina, the critically endangered red wolf and the state's powerhouse sweet potato crops, work independently yet symmetrically to fortify and protect this climate-stressed coastal landscape. One prowls the misty marshes as a silent apex predator, keeping entire ecosystems in check through the sheer force of its presence. The other blankets the sandy coastal soils in a dense, creeping armor of vines and roots, shielding the farmland from the increasingly brutal swings of drought and hurricane flooding. Together, they tell a story about resilience, balance, and the extraordinary ways that nature and agriculture can serve as unexpected allies in the fight to preserve one of America's most ecologically and economically vital regions. The Albemarle-Pamlico Peninsula, a sprawling patchwork of marshes, wetlands, and farmland, sits at the heart of this story. And understanding what keeps it alive means understanding the roles these two very different icons play in its survival. The red wolf is one of the rarest, most endangered canids on Earth, and its last wild stand is right here in North Carolina's coastal plain. As an apex predator, the red wolf serves a vital role as a keystone species. By hunting deer, raccoons, and invasive nutria, these wolves maintain a critical top-down balance on the ecosystem. Their presence alone is enough to alter the behavior of prey animals, keeping herds constantly moving and preventing any single area from being stripped bare by overgrazing. This behavioral pressure, which ecologists call the landscape of fear, is just as powerful as the physical act of predation itself. Without the red wolf, prey populations explode, leading to catastrophic overgrazing of fragile coastal wetlands. Deer herds left unchecked will systematically destroy the native marsh vegetation that holds the entire ecosystem together. Once that vegetation disappears, the root systems that bind the wetland soil begin to collapse, accelerating coastal erosion and triggering a cascade of biodiversity loss that ripples outward across the inner banks. By keeping these herbivores in check, wolves protect the native marsh vegetation, and those healthy root systems act as a natural buffer against the relentless forces of tidal erosion and storm surge. The red wolf is not simply a predator. It is an architect of the coastal landscape, quietly engineering the conditions that allow the entire wetland ecosystem to survive. Every track it leaves in the soft marsh mud is a signature of ecological stability, a reminder that the health of this coastline depends on the continued survival of its rarest guardian. While the red wolf stabilizes the wild marshes, North Carolina's farmers are securing the soil with the state's official vegetable, the sweet potato. Producing over half of the entire United States supply, North Carolina is the undisputed sweet potato capital of the country. But beyond their enormous economic value, these hardy root crops are a masterclass in climate resilience that deserves far more recognition than it typically receives. The coastal plain faces increasingly brutal weather patterns, ranging from extreme droughts baking the sandy soils to intense hurricane flooding washing entire fields away in a single storm. Sweet potatoes are uniquely built to survive these dramatic swings. Their thick, creeping vine canopy spreads densely across the ground, keeping the soil shaded and moist during periods of intense heat, dramatically reducing the evaporation that leaves sandy coastal soils cracked and depleted. When the rains come hard and fast, as they increasingly do during Atlantic hurricane season, those same sprawling vines slow the surface flow of water, giving the soil time to absorb moisture rather than losing it to runoff. Underground, the incredibly dense root systems lock the loose, sandy coastal soil firmly in place, preventing the massive nutrient runoff and tropical storm erosion that would otherwise strip farmland of the rich organic matter it needs to remain productive for future generations. Sweet potatoes do not simply feed people. They actively defend the ground beneath them. From the predatory balance of the red wolf keeping the wetlands intact, to the rugged climate resilience of the sweet potato shielding the agricultural soils, North Carolina's coastal plain relies on its wild and cultivated heroes to survive the changing times. These two icons, one a ghost of the marshes and one a staple of the harvest, represent something larger than themselves. They are proof that ecological health and agricultural sustainability are not competing interests, but deeply connected ones, each reinforcing the other across the same fragile landscape. The survival of the coastal plain depends on recognizing these connections and acting to protect them. If you want to help share the incredible stories of nature's hidden defenders, please show your support. Smash that like button, subscribe to Nature Video Channel 22, and tell us in the comments what state we should feature next. Thanks for watching, and we will see you out in the wild.